Hey, good morning, family. Good morning, God's people. Thank you for joining me today. You caught me on the move, which is my normal state of being on the move. But it is a nice rainy day here in Georgia. And I'm working on this Saturday and just kind of back and forth between a couple places. This is part 86 of a Radical Fall to Grace. The last 15, the final 15. And I'm excited about this portion, this part of the story, because this is where I start to get into all the blessings and yesings of the Lord. You know, He said that every promise in His Word is yes and amen. And so, you know, I can attest to that. That is so true. Every promise in His Word is for me, and it is yes and amen. But before getting to the yeses, you know, I had to go through a whole lot of no's, and sometimes the no's are hard to handle. You know, the Bible does a great job of laying out some of these no's. You know, if you start as early as Adam, you know, wanting to get back in the garden, and that answer was no. And then Moses wanting to go into the promised land, God said, you know, you're not going. You know, and Abraham asking the Lord to spare His judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah. The answer was no. You know, and then you go to Jesus even in the Garden of Gethsemane asking God, you know, if there's any way, you know, to take this cup from me. You know, but it was God's will that He should send His Son to suffer and die for us. And then even Paul, you know, he said he was given by God a messenger of Satan, a thorn in his flesh, you know, that he cried out to the Lord for 3 days, 3 different occasions, asking Him to remove this. And God's answer was, my grace is sufficient for you. My grace. Saying that I know better for you what you need than what you know. And boy, isn't that true. I find that to be so true. I've asked the Lord about a lot of different situations, and I'm sorry if it's hard to hear me with the windshield wipers and the rain. But when you're on the go like me, you gotta make time to fit things in. So, but anyway, as I was saying, you know, there's so many no's. I remember this job that I had about 1.5 years, 2 years into recovery, and it was a really good job, you know. And I kept getting promoted, kept getting advanced, and you know, because of a series of events, you know, that job was put on pause or taken away for a short time, with the understanding that I'd be able to go back to it. And you know, when I tried to go back, the Lord said, no, that's not what I have for you anymore. I've got something much greater, much better, much more in line with my will and purpose for your life. And it ended up being the case, man. It's so true. You know, He led me to a place called Across the Bridge, a recovery center, a hub where I'm able to use the gifts and callings of my life to minister into the lives of men, time and time again on every single day. That's actually where I'm leaving right now. And just so many other things. I got a job as a project manager for a roofing company that's actually owned by a couple friends of mine. And just with freedom in that to do the things that the Lord wants to do. Even in that, we minister into the lives of men. And then, man, the biggest blessing, I could say, the biggest no that I got up to this point was when I really, really wanted a certain woman to be my wife. And, you know, just asked the Lord, you know, to make that happen. And His answer was just no. You know, He said, I have something better for you. Not necessarily someone in the sense of better or worse, but someone better suited for you. Someone who will fit you better, who will complement your life better, who will walk side by side you, who will sharpen you, strengthen you. And I thank the Lord so much for that no, because He gave me the biggest yes and the greatest yes of my life, which is my wife, Sarah. Just the biggest blessing that I have, and she is just by my side at every turn, and I give God all the glory for her.